your debut album, being released in 2007. Um, but clearly there was work prior to that moment, and like you say, getting on the radio was a challenge. So what were some of those challenges that you faced during that time?
I mean, there were several, like, so, we'll start with the most basic. I was signed to an independent. So an independent that had never had a country artist before and, didn't exist 3 years prior to me even releasing music. So, we were unproven and that was definitely a thing because you're going up against, major labels that have been around since forever and that have well established relationships and money and all kinds of stuff. So like that was and like well established artists. So they could leverage their established artists for the younger artists and for the newer artists. And so we didn't have that. Partnered with the fact that I'm a woman and I am a Black woman. And this was my first project. And yeah, just all those things partnered together to make a really an adventure. I'll call it that. We'll call it an adventure.
Oh Lord. So the adventure, right? Some of the things that happened along that journey, is safe to say that, many of those things led to the creation of Color Me Country.
Oh, absolutely. I was so in 2007, I know it's hard for a lot of people to imagine because there's so many artists that are visible now and making noise in country music, especially women of color. But in 2007, it was, there was no streaming, first of all. There was LimeWire and Napster and things like that. And there was like the beginnings of like Apple iTunes and all that, but there wasn't Spotify and there wasn't streaming. So you still had to buy all this stuff. And then there wasn't really like there was Facebook and MySpace and Twitter was kind of at its beginning stage, but it wasn't like how like TikTok is or like how Instagram is. And so it was just a different time. People didn't just put out music. And so I didn't really have a lot of peers that looked like me. I wasn't being interviewed by people that looked like me for the most part. Like, unless I was doing Black press, it wasn't like in country music, there were like tons of Black reporters for me to talk to. So a lot of times I was having to go into situations almost protecting the people that I was talking to, if that makes sense. Like you want to make everybody feel comfortable. And I think a lot of Black people can relate to that. Like when you're in a predominantly white situation, you spend a lot of time trying to make people feel comfortable with you and okay with you being there. And so, I did a lot of interviews, but in a lot of those interviews, they would ask me questions like, well, how has your experience been, as a Black woman? And you don't want to tell somebody like, oh, well, it's been hell actually. So like you're just kind of like you're just trying to accentuate the positive and make people feel good and like they're excited about you and that sort of thing. And so I never wanted anyone else to feel that. And so that was really one of the big impetus of creating a platform like Color Me Country, was to make sure that people could just be themselves. And if you had a hard time and you want to talk about it, like there's no backlash here. I'm not upset. I don't think other people are going to be upset with you. Like it's a safe space. And so yeah, for sure, that definitely informed my decision to create the show.
How do you think that kind of impacted, like we talk about mental health now more openly. How do you think that kind of impacted, your mental health, or how you decided to guide, yourself in the ever-growing field? Like you said, you felt like you had to go in and protect them so that way you can also protect yourself.
Yeah, it didn't affect my mental health well at all. And it's part of the reason why I took a break for a couple years. I was just tired. I was tired. I was, being an artist is already really hard, and like a new artist especially, because you don't really get an opportunity to say no a lot, because everything could be, something important, and you want to do this for this person, so maybe, down the road they'll do this for you, and like that sort of thing. So I was burnt out from just working, and then I was burnt out from like the little things that kind of pick at you every day, like conversations about my hair, conversations about music choice, things that people are saying about you on the internet, and like, and then not feeling 100% connected to my peers, and that sort of thing. And so it was hard. I mean, I was very tired. I was burnt out. I was drinking a lot to kind of cope and to feel better, and it just wasn't good. And the way that I was going was not sustainable at all. I'm actually in kind of the sweet spot, because I don't believe anybody I don't think it's normal for anyone to be happy all the time. I think you can be content. I'm very content. Um, I love, like, I have two amazing children that I adore, and they make me really happy. And being their mother makes me really happy. I have a job that I am like, I can't stop thinking about. Like, I love that show, and I love being a producer on the show, and I love making things that occur to me in my head happen. Um, so that makes me really happy. I love that my show has given me an opportunity to give back, because that's really important, and that makes me really happy. And and I love, and of course music. I get to do, I every day I get to get up and have an opportunity to write a song or to perform, and people call for me to perform, and like that's like my childhood dream. So like, yeah, I would never say that I'm 100% happy all the time, because that's crazy. But and that's not realistic. But I am very content.
I love the fact that, you have been fighting for, the inclusion and acknowledgement of the history, like the few shows I have listened to, I definitely enjoyed, especially the recent one with fellow Baltimorean Brittany,
Oh
I be
yeah, Brittany. Yeah, that
yeah,
was a good show. That was a good one. She's a good interview.
it was, especially like when I hear certain words, like when you from somewhere, like you may hear me a little bit, but like you can hear like the little accents come out certain words. I'm like, that's my
I love
girl.
her accent. Her accent is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. I love, like, to hear her say stupid. She's like,
No, because I just heard it.
and do you. I love do you. Like, Baltimore people, y'all have the best accents. Like, forget the Southern accent. I love a Baltimore accent.
Oh Lord, oh that's gonna be a good sound bite. I love it. I love it.